with the times.
Excellencies, friends, today marks a promising step towards a brighter and bluer future for Fiji and the Solomon Islands. This moment has taken years of ongoing discussions and negotiations between our two countries to achieve. My friend, the Honorable Manasa Songaware, and I have signed the Maritime Boundary Delimitation Agreement, establishing our countries' respective maritime zones in accordance with the principles of the United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea. Mapping ocean boundaries is a determinative challenge for us large ocean states in the Pacific. Implementing regional ocean solutions depend on such agreements. They are the foundation of the Great Blue Pacific Wall of sustainably managed ocean space we are looking to build. The signing of this agreement is an important milestone to demarcate our region's 48 shared maritime boundaries, of which 13 remain to be finalized through an agreement. I am hopeful that the finalization of this agreement today will set the momentum toward the finalization of our agreement with Tonga and the other 11 remaining maritime boundary agreements in the region. Excellencies, today's signing is well timed on the margins of the 51st Pacific Islands Forum Leaders Meeting, as regional leaders meet to set the course for the future of Pacific regionalism and, of course, witness the launching of the region's 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific continent, which rightly puts a deep focus on sustainable ocean management. In consideration of the region's 2050 strategy and the Pacific Island Forum Leaders Declaration on preserving maritime zones in the face of climate change-related sea level rise, the agreement considers the permanency of our maritime boundaries in the face of climate change-related sea level rise. Prime Minister Songaware and I have issued formal letters emphasizing this permanence of our respective maritime boundaries. Allow me, Excellencies, to acknowledge the assistance provided by the Pacific community, the SPC, and consortium partners, some of whom are in this room today. This assistance has provided Fiji and the Solomon Islands with both the legal and technical expertise needed to finalize this agreement. Finally, I congratulate Honorable Prime Minister Songaware for the signing of today's Maritime Boundary Agreement and look forward to future collaboration in securing our Blue Pacific continent. I thank you.
Today is indeed a momentous day for Solomon Islands as the region embraces our people's connection to the ocean. As big ocean states, the Blue Pacific makes up a combined exclusive economic zone of more than 41 million square kilometers. Today's signing of Solomon Islands Fiji Maritime Boundary Agreement is also a celebration of the rolling out of the ocean chapter, as we heard, of our draft 2050 strategy, as we continue to invest in the sovereignty and sovereign rights of our people over maritime zones. On this note, let me thank my neighbor, the chair of the Pacific Island Forum and the Prime Minister of the Republic of Fiji, the Honorable Josiah Frank Bainimarama, for your earlier remarks and providing space to allow for this signing to happen. Solomon Islands have 5 shared overlapping maritime boundaries with our Pacific neighbors. We have concluded maritime agreements with Australia, Papua New Guinea, France, Vanuatu, and now Fiji. This evening's gathering signifies our commitment to the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, to which Fiji and Solomon Islands are both parties. UNCLOS itself is one of the achievements the Pacific region is in shaping the International Convention as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Pacific Islands Forum. Global work to combat climate change and keep our ocean vibrant and healthy is not only our duty, but calling as well. Movement of tuna away from our waters will need leaders to come together to develop a sustainable ocean economy, exploring farmed mariculture products. Solomon Islands support the call for a regional world-class tropical research ocean center. And Solomon Islands register its interest to host the center. Our region is clear on preserving our maritime boundary due to sea level rise. Internationally, the region continues to work to conclude a legally binding biodiversity beyond areas of national jurisdiction framework. And we remain committed to work with all in developing a legal framework to address plastic pollution in our ocean. The signing of this letter of exchange today complements the agreement that irrespective of sea level rise, the baseline and outer limits of our maritime zones will not be reviewed. It is cemented in perpetuity. On this note, I'm thankful to the Prime Minister of Fiji in agreeing to the signing of the side letters. The side letters we have exchanged today will ensure that this agreement we just signed is consistent with the intention of all Pacific Island Forum members to maintain our maritime zones in the face of climate change-related sea level rise, which is set out in the Declaration on Preserving Maritime Zones that we committed to in August last year. Before I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, let me, for the second time, state that I am deeply appreciative of the fact that we have arrived at this historic moment owing to the tremendous dedication and spirited efforts of our senior officials of both Fiji and Solomon Islands in ensuring that we finalize and conclude our shared maritime boundary. Equally important is the unwavering support and assistance of the South Pacific Commission and the consortium partners to the whole process. You have my commendation. Finally, I look forward to working with Fiji to ensure that this treaty is ratified and enters into force in the near future. Thank you very much, and Vinaka Kulev.
Thank you, Prime Minister.